Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Marketing Momentum with Charles and Deborah. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Deb. Hi, everybody.
Okay, tonight we're talking about blank. No, I don't know how to define this. I was just asking Charles. Okay, so the backstory is like a year ago, there was this program that I don't even know what the cost was, Charles, but it was something that was, it wasn't like it was $25 a one time. It cost enough that you sit down and think, hey, do I want to budget for this?
Right.
And there was an option to pay like $30 a month. And it sounded really good, especially when I went to Charles. Charles explained it. I mean, this guy was a pro. And I signed up. Well, I haven't taken advantage of it. And so here I am sounding really dingy. I don't know what to call it. But Charles remembers enough of this this model. Some more we're talking about this model and what was presented. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Charles, to say whatever you'd like about about the confusion that I just presented.
I mean, yeah, it is basically, I think the thing that I think all marketers, internet marketers in particular, kind of suffer from is I think conceptually we understand affiliate marketing, and that really feels like that's something that we can do, because really that's getting a link, that's getting in front of people that, are eventually gonna either decide to buy or decide not to buy. And I think we all understand that. So we can draw an audience, we can say, hey, go over here and check this thing out. The thing I think is a little more challenging, right, is being able to push through actually finishing, a project or product, and then getting it up for, because there's creating the instruction, and then there's actually getting it up for sale. And there's something about that period from creating it to getting up for sale that's really hard. And I think that is really kind of the goal of that program, as I understand it, because really and truly, even to be a good affiliate, and Dwayne and I were talking about this, and a couple other guys were talking about this, even to be a good affiliate, you somehow have to eventually create something of your own, because you should be listening to the people that are on your, in your community, your tribe, or whatever you call it these days, your email marketing. I don't know what do you call it these days.
E-group for the
right,
for Yahoo.
the peeps, right? Yes. And somehow or another, if you're hearing them, you got to be helping them to accomplish whatever it is, whether it's weight loss or whatever the case is. So it's that product creation piece and actually finishing something and finishing it on a regular basis that I think is really hard. And being in a group where you have some accountability, for some people that works. But at the end of the day, it's still going through the point of finishing the product, not knowing whether or not it's going to sell or not. And I think, it's just a mental block, right? It's a mental block with all of us who do internet marketing, kind of like, well, is anybody really gonna buy this? And, and are you really going to like this? And it always happens at the point at which you're finished, right? When you get ready to start it, you feel like this is a great idea. Man, people are gonna love this thing. I'm gonna do this thing. I can't wait. Right. I can't wait to get, and then right before you actually put a buy button on there, you start thinking like, man, I really wonder if anybody's gonna buy this thing at all. And the program, as I recall, I think it kind of helps people within the context of a group, within the context of having a coach to kind of push you on some accountability issues, to kind of get, something finished, get it up for sale, and then put it out there. And then knowing that, it might not sell at all.
I think you're right. That's exactly, it was the coaching. I remember the sales pitch really impressed me was that he said he and his wife had been, and by the way, the only reason we're not mentioning the name is not because we're not trying to advertise him, but in case we say something that wasn't what he said, we don't want to say the wrong thing and attribute it anyway. But I think he's showing pictures, how you see this like vacation over here and all that, but it wasn't overly done. So it's like, okay, does this dude actually have any content, or is it just about his family vacations to Hawaii? But what he was saying was, I've been doing this for many years, and, not to talk about age, but he looked like he wasn't born yesterday. So that was believable. Right. That seemed like that was a fair statement. And he said that, hey, I realized what I was doing wrong. Finally, it like all made sense, and I clicked through, and, it sounds like instant success, but it was like I kept kind of like, beating my head against this brick wall for a while. And then finally I broke through, and now I'm here to teach you what it is that I learned. And I think that was the pitch that really reached me.
And, it really is, the only leverage you have as a marketer really and truly is you can get leverage one of two ways. You can scale up by having people work for you or kind of work up under you so that you can produce more and do more marketing, right? More promotion, or you can produce stuff faster, right? So you got people helping you to produce stuff faster in order to sell. Or probably the most efficient, and I think this is what we were talking about with this program, is getting something up, striking the balance between getting something finished, and then learning how to develop relationships with people who are going to sell, the affiliates, because really developing those relationships means that if you can create something that they know that when they put it before their community, it's going to do well, they'll continue to promote on the one hand. And what you're getting is, well, yeah, you kind of feel like, well, I'm paying out so much in commissions, this doesn't make sense to me money wise. Well, it does, because the leverage you're getting is you have people now that are part of your community that were not before. And you didn't really do anything to do that other than to create something that you got paid for also. So you also got paid to generate leads as opposed to paying to get leads.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Like I was thinking and I know I do this, I haven't brought up her name for a while, but I like to talk about Eileen Smith, and I think she's such a great person, and I work with her on different projects. We're still working on that book that was supposed to be published last year, but we're going to get there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even if I haven't gone through her, like she's got some excellent, and no, she's not paying me to do this, although I am an affiliate, but that's not why I'm mentioning it. But it goes back to your point, Charles, as far as she's such an expert on YouTube. And even if I haven't gone through her complete program, I'm sorry, Eileen, I'm getting there. I don't mind recommending it. And I'm actually really picky. Like I won't just, maybe, I don't want to say how many decades ago I would have been an affiliate for everything, and then everything was on my website. Now it's like I pick the ones that fit with my brand. Well, she's one of them. So I will recommend, if someone says, hey, I don't know how to use YouTube, it's like, oh, I know just the person that will walk it through, the whole system and keep it basic, and you will definitely learn something from Eileen Smith. So yeah, she's got me sold. Just like what you're saying, she didn't have to do any extra work to get me representing. And to some extent, I'll recommend it to someone, even if I don't have an affiliate link available. Just tell them, hey, go Google this, even if I'm not getting anything out of it, just because I believe in what she's doing.
And it's a mental jump, right? To say, I've got something worthy for you to go out and get your people to bring them to me. And so, but the first stage though, is still creating something to do that. Right. And so instead of being an affiliate, creating something to recruit affiliates, that's really the 360, right? Because everybody, when you first get an affiliate commission, you think this is magic. Why didn't I do this when I was born? Right.
I decades ago, but
right. Yeah. I didn't create anything, and somebody sent me money for this. Wow. This is really crazy. And it's really money. I can really go spend it. But then, but the thing is that when the next morning starts, you've got to do that all over again, right? So if nothing happens, you have to go out and you got to still generate more stuff in order for that to happen. Whereas opposed to turning it around, where you really create something and you have affiliates that are out there promoting because it's in their best interest to promote. Not only are they bringing you more people to make part of your customer list, but they're also making sales. And so it doesn't seem like it. It seems like, well, a sale is a sale, but a sale is not a sale. At some point, all the big affiliates. And even the big bloggers, they eventually create a product because the product is leverage,
Yep,
right?
exactly.
And the product doesn't become real leverage until the affiliates are promoting for you.
Right. Right. That makes sense. And you know, a lot of it's timing too. I haven't necessarily figured out the formula enough that I can put it out there, but there definitely is a formula in the whole launch thing. And I know you've been going through some of this with your groups. I was going to say groupies, a lot of people that follow Charles, but I noticed that when I put out Hangout Queen, and actually I launched it, good grief, I don't even know how many years ago now, a couple of years, whatever. And I had so many people on board and they wanted to do the free trial because I invited, you know, like beta testers, if you will, on some of the training and so forth. And that's before I put it on Udemy. I was just having it on my website and everybody was all excited and so forth. And then maybe I didn't articulate that, hey, as a part of the privilege to be beta testers, I also need feedback. Because it was like
Right.
a half thing where you have all these people logged in. And no offense, I appreciate all the beta testers, but I don't know that I got feedback on any of the lesson plans. So all it was giving free access. And I'm sure they meant well because I've done the same thing. It's like, hey, I've got this book. Will you read it and then give
Right.
me feedback? And then it's like,
Right.
you know, 6 months later, oh no, I didn't read that book. I didn't get back to them. We all get so busy. So, and the timing, but if I'd had the product, I feel like when all those beta testers came in, that was the peak. And I think you'd said that earlier as far as that timing. It's when I started to create it that I had the excitement. Like I was trying to build it. And the idea was that you're building it so it's going up as you're going towards the
Yep.
launch. But it's like a short fuse. It just kind of a little tiny fireworks. And then that was it.
Right.
That's how I launched it. It's like, oh, that's old news now. It's like, no, this is new news. It just launched now.
Well, you know, the guy, his name is Jeff Walker, and he's now put it in book form. The same thing that, not the exact same thing, obviously. I mean, I'd say back in 2009, I just wrote this in an email today. See, like everything I bought in 2009, 2010 cost $2,000. Okay, so I bought
I
this
don't mean
thing
to
from
laugh
Jeff
at you.
Walker. Right, yeah. So I bought this thing from Jeff Walker. It was called Product Launch Formula. And to be quite honest, I just went through that this year, right? 2009 to 2015, just went through it. And what's interesting is he talked about that very thing where, I mean, it's still relevant what he said. Thankfully, it's still relevant because he came back out with it. I'm not going to get the new one. So it's relevant to kind of build. It's more than building up a buzz. It's really kind of connecting with the people that are going to be your customers and really kind of starting a conversation and then making that conversation public. So whether or not that conversation takes place on a blog or social media, and I'm not a big fan of having a conversation like that public on social media. I sort of
That
like to
feels
have it.
weird. Like it should be private.
It needs to be a little more controlled.
Mm-hmm.
But that conversation is the thing that eventually becomes the social proof. So in other words,
Right. Right.
when people are saying, wow, I love this, I mean, that's the stuff that you are looking for. And that's the stuff that you really pull from that when you actually do launch and put into the sales process. Say, hey, look, you know, Charles Harper from Harrisburg, PA said, this is the best thing that I've seen since sliced bread. And people don't say that stuff actually after they get it. They say it when the buildup is happening. So that's why it's really kind of important to have that conversation and then to be drawing those things out and then putting that in the sales process, because that's when people are saying all these things. This is, oh, wow, I can't believe it. I've never seen anything like this, because it's kind of anticlimactic, right? And some of them are probably not going to open and use it at all. So they're not really kind of feel you enough to say, hey, this is great. I just want to let you know. So you kind of want to, he was saying, he said back then, I think he even says it now, that's the importance of this launch process that happens over the course of a month as opposed to a week.
That makes a lot of sense because, you know, I'm coming from the other side where I go to a website and I'll see something and then you see all the social proof and the testimonials like, well, why didn't they come to me? I'll write a nice little testimonial or something. Of course, you know, I didn't know. I may know the person, but I didn't know about the product or whatever, and I'm not paying attention and I'm over here doing my own projects. But that makes a lot of sense, Charles. If they're using that same formula, then they're already having those conversations, and the people making these wonderful statements may not, I mean, Yeah, okay, it's clear to see that there's some social proof going on here, but they may not actually consciously think, oh, I'm about to write this and this is going to end up on the sales page.
Right.
But
Right.
that's the phase. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and you've had that conversation in a sense that is public enough so that you're not violating anybody's privacy. You're not violating them by
Right.
saying, hey, this person said this. Well, they said it publicly and they said it in a public forum, then you're not doing anything to them that would put them out there.
You just gave me an idea as far as far as my music. I'm thinking I get all these nice comments like, what was it? I had a PR gal, well known in Los Angeles, and she says, "What are you doing IT when you have a voice like this?" And I'm thinking, wow, I should have. That was public. It was publicly on one of my profiles. I should have captured that and actually put it on my musician site. Like, duh. Like where it's see, it's the music hat versus the internet marketing hat, and sometimes they don't fit in the same head. But that makes sense.
Yeah, it's the name of that book is called Launch by Jeff Walker. Now he's actually taken the I can put it in. I don't know if it's all the same stuff, but I know he talks about the build up and how you take a sales letter that you read and you turn it sideways and you stretch it out over time. And so you get as many people involved in the process over time so that
that's brilliant.
It really is. And so
it's out of the box, but it's
well, he's been doing this since I think 2008 in like a lot of different markets. And apparently it works because it's based on what he says, psychological triggers. So in other words, it's not a tactic, and it'll work whether or not it worked before there's social media. It works alongside social media, it works outside of social media, because it's really kind of based on, well, you're sort of talking to people about what they need, you're solving a problem, and then people are excited because they see you solving this problem right before their eyes.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Now, did he put out a book? It seems like, and I don't know if it's because I've heard you talk about Jeff Walker. I feel like I've got like something from Audible or an ebook or something that isn't the $2,000 one, but maybe a stripped down kind of teaser product. Does he have other products that are out there?
Yeah, he's got some teaser stuff that are out there, but I think that it floats around where he's got this thing where I think you get all these got free shipping and they give you a bunch of audio files. So that could be.
Oh, that sounds fun. I remember, okay, this is really going to date me. I don't know if Charles, if we've even ever talked about this, but Corey Rudel, do you recognize the name?
I remember the name. Yeah.
And he had the Internet Marketing Training Center. Wait, oh my goodness, did I get that right? All you Corey Rudel fans, forgive me if I have messed that up, but believe me, I can picture the notebooks. But I mean, these notebooks were this thick and there were two of them. And it was in the 90s. Yes, I've dated myself now. But he was like the only one out there that was doing anything. It's like the term internet marketing wasn't even known, but he was teaching about how to do the banners. I mean, that was back with all the banners, and it was only HTML. It was before WordPress. Yeah, that if nothing else has dated me, that has dated me. But I was just, I remember when that like showed up, he actually gave it to me complimentary because well, that's another story, but it showed up, these big boxes and all this stuff. And it was like, oh my goodness, this is like, I have just won the lottery. I have, like treasure trove, opening up all this information. So I'm kind of imagining that emotion as you're describing what comes in the box. There's just something about being able to touch it and say, wow, this is so much information. It's going to help me.
As I understand it, with that guy, you could probably pull it out today and it'd still be relevant.
I wish I knew where it was. Between moving to New York for a year and then coming back, and it was like, everything used to be organized. It's like, I have no idea. And then I went and bought a bathroom scale for only $8. I was so proud of myself. And of course, the next day we found our expensive bathroom scale. So it's like, hey, son, you want a bathroom scale? So a friend of mine said, just open up your house and have a garage sale. You find it in a box, there you go. And it's like, I'm not ready to just give it away for free. But yes, you're right. Those notebooks are somewhere with the books. I have a huge library that I don't know where it is. So it's probably in the in the garage. I'm glad my grandpa cannot hear me say that, because he would roll over in his grave. But yeah, I'm sure that a lot of that material, some of the basics and the things, especially related to the psychological aspect, maybe we're not using banners in the same way, but there was a lot of really helpful information in the training. Unfortunately, Corey, yes, I can talk. Corey left us in the 2000s. I'm not sure what
Yep.
year, but in a racing accident. So that was kind of. Otherwise, he'd probably still be out there competing with everybody else. But hey, we all have our our phase where we can contribute to the body of knowledge of internet marketing.
Yep. No, right on.
Wow. Well, that's a good segue. Not to end us, but that's a good segue. So, Charles, what would you recommend for people now that we haven't mentioned the name of the person that we're sort of semi-promoting but not naming? Where can we send people for help? I know, to Charles. To your website.
The plrshow.com. I do train on every Tuesday and Thursday now for the month of January on the product creation challenge, calling Launchpad.
There you go. That works perfect. You guys have an action step, and you've got a little teaser here listening to Charles, and you get more attending. So hit rewind and get those times again.
No,
PLR show. Excellent. Well, thank you, Charles.
No, thank you, Deb.
And
bye-bye, everybody.
See all of you same time, same place next week.